Breaking news, y'all. Kobe Bryant's wife is pregnant by Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics.
People don't know this, but one of the reasons my husband played through injuries and pain was because he said he remembered being a little kid, sitting in the nosebleeds with his dad to watch his favorite player play.
Pam Bryant is fuming at Vanessa, at least. That's the rumor. Word is she's had enough of fans saying this is all about Vanessa being linked to Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown and those ongoing pregnancy whispers. The so-called proof came in the form of viral late-night photos showing Jaylen with his arm around Vanessa, looking way more intimate than just friends. But here's the problem: nobody can trace where those pictures even came from. Fans quickly pointed out warped hands, weird shadows, and those classic AI-style glitches, making the whole thing look shaky at best. That hasn't stopped social media from running with it though. On TikTok and Facebook, users are convinced this is just the latest chapter in the Bryant family feud with Pam, furious over Vanessa's choices and the pregnancy rumors only adding more fuel to the fire. And if you've been keeping up, you know Vanessa already clapped back earlier this summer with a Rihanna meme, saying she wasn't pregnant and that she was having fun all summer long. But somehow, the gossip has only gotten louder, and now Pam's name is caught right in the middle of it. So the big question is this: has Pam really spoken out this time, or is the internet just recycling old family drama into a fresh headline? In case you missed it, the internet swears Vanessa Bryant and Jaylen Brown got caught slipping. The story, making the rounds, is that the two were spotted outside a private LA dinner, with Jaylen slipping an arm around her waist and Vanessa leaning in like it was more than friendly. From that one moment, fans immediately jumped to, "They're dating, she's pregnant." The photos spread like wildfire, and by the next morning, collages were everywhere, bouncing from Facebook groups to TikTok edits and X threads, each one fueling the narrative even further. People zoomed in, slowed the photos down, and captioned them like they were undeniable proof. On podcasts and reaction shows, creators were already breaking the pictures down as if they were fact. But here's the catch: not a single reputable outlet has touched the story. Neither Vanessa nor Jay ever posted them. No paparazzi agency has claimed them. Nothing. And if those shots were real, you already know they'd be selling for top dollar. It didn't take long for fans to start spotting the slip-ups either. Warped hands, strange shadows, bent outlines, classic signs of AI editing, which means the so-called receipts are shaky at best. Still, that didn't stop the rumor from trending. Millions of views later, the internet had already decided the story was true, no matter how sketchy the proof looked. What makes it even wilder is that Vanessa already killed this exact rumor weeks ago, and she made sure people noticed. Back in June, she hopped on Instagram stories with not one but two Rihanna memes that made her point loud and clear. The first showed Rihanna floating in the water with a drink in hand, middle finger up, with the caption, "Me protecting my peace, not pregnant, and having fun all summer." That was Vanessa's way of saying, "Stop the noise, I'm fine. I'm not pregnant and I'm unbothered." Then she doubled down with another meme that read, "I'm not mean, I'm just not the one." It wasn't just funny, it was shade. A reminder that she doesn't owe anyone explanations for living her life the way she wants. One fan even broke it down perfectly, saying the Rihanna post wasn't your typical leave me alone meme. It was a clapback in itself.
Vanessa Bryant is not pregnant, but instead of the boring denial post, she hit you with the Rihanna meme, lounging in the ocean, drink in hand, and middle finger up. Iconic. But let's get to the problem here. Why do y'all feel so entitled to a widow's uterus? Why do people think women moving on is betrayal? She lost her husband and her daughter in one of the most tragic stories of our generations, and y'all want to make up rumors because she put on a baggy hoodie?
So, if we're being real, Vanessa already clapped back at these whispers 2 months ago. She's not the type to sit quietly while rumors spiral, and her response wasn't some subtle hint, it was a direct dismissal. The fact that the same story is making the rounds again only shows how desperate social media is to recycle old gossip into something new. But that's where Jaylen Brown comes in, because the question fans keep asking is, if Vanessa already shut down the pregnancy talk, why does his name keep popping up? Let's be honest, the only reason Jaylen's name is glued to Vanessa right now is because fans won't let it go. The whispers really took off after those supposed late-night dinner pics, with his arm around her waist, her leaning in, and people instantly deciding it looked way too cozy to be innocent. From there, the story snowballed. Fans were quick to point out that Jaylen has always praised Kobe, even crediting his career to the Mamba mentality. In their eyes, that connection makes the idea of him being close to Vanessa even juicier. Like, of course, Kobe's widow would be tied to someone carrying on his legacy. And then, there's the age gap narrative. Vanessa's 43, Jaylen's 28, and TikTok comments instantly labeled it a power couple situation. One clip that went viral even called out the irony of it. Kobe spent years battling the Celtics, and now his widow is being linked to one of their biggest stars. That twist alone made fans push the rumor even harder, no matter how shaky the receipts look.
Now you can't tell me. Jaylen Brown, the Boston Celtics, the little short dude, point guard, big ass contract. And you can't tell me, you cannot tell me, Kobe is not turning in his grave right now. That you went and got pregnant by a Boston Celtics. He hates the Boston Celtics. That's our ultimate rival. You tell me you pregnant by Jaylen Brown? How old is Jaylen Brown? Ain't he like 22? 23? And you hitting Kobe's wife? Oh my God.
And this is where Pam Bryant's name got dragged into the mix. Fans already know her history with Vanessa, and they're convinced she would never approve of this rumored relationship. The whispers weren't just about Vanessa and Jaylen anymore, turned into, what would Pam think? Because let's be real, Pam and Vanessa never had that picture-perfect in-law bond. From Pam skipping the wedding, to the ugly memorabilia lawsuit, to the little headlines that kept popping up over the years, the tension has always been there. So when social media linked Vanessa to Jaylen, it wasn't just seen as gossip. Instantly became another chapter in the long, messy saga between Pam Bryant and her daughter-in-law.
Mother and father just sold his NBA championship ring. They just sold it. Why? Because they need capital to live. They're elders. They need some money. Vanessa Bryant ain't giving them a dime. Kobe Bryant left her almost $1 billion, and you mean to tell me that you don't have enough decency, enough respect to float Kobe Bryant's mother and father $1 million? Even if it's one time, Art. Even if it's one time. I don't really like y'all. I don't really mess with y'all. Y'all son told me not to be bothered with y'all. But because you are his parents, because he would have never existed without you.
Even when Kobe and Gianna passed and Pam showed up at the memorial, nobody thought it meant things were magically fixed. So now, when people see Vanessa being linked to Jaylen Brown, they don't need Pam to say a single word. The assumption is already baked in, of course. She wouldn't approve. Fans are pulling from decades of receipts, the auction fight, the strained public moments, the fact Kobe himself had issues with his parents. They're using that history as fuel to believe Pam must be slamming Vanessa again. The funny part, there's no verified statement from her, not one. But because this family rift has played out so publicly, the internet just fills in the blanks on her behalf. And that's exactly why this rumor caught fire so fast. It's not really about the photos, it's about the history. But fans aren't stopping at assumptions. They're already speculating why Pam would come for Vanessa. To them, the timing says it all. Vanessa being linked to Jaylen Brown doesn't just look like moving on, it looks like moving on publicly. And for fans who already see Pam as never fully accepting Vanessa, that's all the ammo they need. Social media has basically made Pam the villain of this story without her saying a word. They're spinning it like, if she had a problem with Kobe marrying Vanessa, imagine how she feels about her being pregnant by someone 15 years younger. It's the same old narrative recycled, only now it's attached to a Celtic star and a supposed baby. And the wild part, Pam doesn't even need to speak. The family history already gave people enough to assume how she'd feel. It's like fans are ghostwriting her reaction just to make the rumors stick harder. Meanwhile, while social media is busy scripting Pam's outrage, Vanessa's actually out here living her life, and it doesn't look anything like the rumor mill is painting it. She's been front and center this year. Natalia's USC graduation, family trips to Disneyland, even popping up at Dodgers games to cheer on Clayton Kershaw. In other words, Vanessa's been moving with joy and family energy, not scandal.
Let's hear once again from y'all, the rest of the Bryant family.
And it's not just family moments either. Vanessa's been pushing projects that keep Kobe and Gianna's legacy alive. Earlier this year, she announced her new book, Mamba and Mambacita Forever, highlighting murals around the world that honor them. It almost feels like the louder the gossip gets, the more she doubles down on keeping things centered on her family and her foundation. While social media spins rumors, Vanessa keeps it classy, focused, and unbuttered. But here's the catch: while she's building legacy, Jaylen Brown's name refuses to leave the headlines. And the way fans frame him in all this, it's not just dating speculation anymore. On one side, you've got Vanessa balancing motherhood, philanthropy, and Kobe's memory. On the other, Jaylen is deep in the NBA grind, locked into training, games, and life as one of the Celtics' biggest stars. That's his entire focus. Yet every time Vanessa's name trends, his gets dragged right back into it. The late-night dinner photos may have been the spark, but the obsession runs deeper. Fans can't forget that Jaylen has always shown public respect to Kobe, studying his mindset, carrying the Mamba mentality like a badge of honor. And for people online, that connection is enough to fuel wild theories. In their eyes, of course, Vanessa would be tied to someone who represents Kobe's legacy. That's why clips of Jaylen praising Kobe keep resurfacing. Each one turned into evidence that he and Vanessa are closer than just friends.
An article around 2019 or so that Kobe was doing the same thing. Before he passed, I read that he had partnered with like the CEO of Uber or whatnot, and he wanted to give athletes better percentages and better deals and allow them to be able to invest into the company as it grows. And I thought this was unique. I remember like seeing this, and they had a picture of the shoe as well. And I remember like, man, how cool would it be if I could be one of those athletes? And I never got to meet Kobe, and he passed. Never got to shake his hand. Never got to build with him. But, some of the stuff that's left behind, I like to walk in, because I think Kobe was one of the reasons I picked up a basketball in the first place.
The reality is, Jaylen hasn't posted a single thing about Vanessa. And let's be real, if anything was really going on, it'd be impossible to hide when you're one of the most photographed players in the NBA. So after all the noise about Pam allegedly slamming Vanessa over Jaylen, people are saying Vanessa's already clapped back in her own way. But here's where the rumor takes a sharper turn. Fans claim Pam's rumored issue isn't just about Jaylen. They're spinning it like she feels Vanessa is burning through Kobe's estate living, a lifestyle Kobe himself would have never approved. And honestly, that angle doesn't shock anyone, because Vanessa doesn't exactly have the cleanest track record when it comes to family ties. She's not even on solid ground with her own mother, Sophia. That fallout turned ugly fast. After Kobe's passing, when Sophia accused Vanessa of kicking her out and refusing to provide financial support.
Nada más estábamos sentadas un día, Natalia, Vanessa y yo, y mi baby Natalia no podía estar en donde vivían antes, porque cada que bajaba para abajo se le figuraba ver a su padre y a mi Gigi sentados en el sofá como siempre. Entonces mi hija dijo, ¿cuál casa vendemos? Dijo, ok, grandma, la de grandma se va a vender. Y fue cuando ella dijo,
Vanessa's reputation has always been that she doesn't bend, she doesn't apologize, and she doesn't back down if it means clashing with her own blood. And that's exactly what makes this whole situation dangerous. For now, it's just whispers, blurry photos, recycled family feuds, and fans ghostwriting Pam's opinion. But the truth is, the silence is what's keeping this from exploding. Pam hasn't said a word, Jaylen stayed quiet, and Vanessa's only response has been a couple of shady memes. The second even one of them breaks that silence. Though, this stops being gossip. It turns into full-blown family drama, the kind that hijacks every headline and rewrites the story for good.